Hello everyone, welcome to Iris Ruby on Rails Bootcamp 2022. Myself Kirti Bhushanem, a second year web developer at Iris NITK. Today, we shall see an introduction of Ruby. Literals. Literals are any data values that we can store in a code. We can see in this image that we are storing 21, a integer literal, in a variable num. We can see different types of literals in this white box. We can pause the video and go through it. We can print values on our output console. We can use print or put statement to print on the console. The difference between the two is that puts automatically inserts a new line while print does not. We can use gets to read inputs from the console. Sometimes comments are necessary in our program to increase the readability of the code that we write. The interpreter treats every word you type in the code as code itself. Hence, we need to follow certain syntax to add comments. To add a single line comment, we can just use hash and the entire line following the hash is ignored by the compiler. To add multi-line comments, we can use equals to begin and equals to end and insert all our comments between the two. And all these lines will be ignored by the compiler. Now we shall see the implementation of this. Yep, we can see here that whenever I use a hash in the beginning, the compiler has ignored everything that follows it. I've also used equals to begin and equals to end here. So therefore, everything that I've written in between the two is treated as a comment. We have used puts hello and print there, which is both used to print values on the output console. However, the difference is that puts brings the cursor to the next line while print does not. We can see that after hello, the cursor is automatically brought to the next line. Hence, there is printed on the next line. But after print, the cursor remains at the same line and hence the exclamatory mark that we have used here is printed in that line itself. We can see that we can see here that there are different types of literals. This is a string literal, this is an integer literal, this is a float literal, and this is a boolean literal. We have assigned all these literal values to our variable. Now, there are different naming conventions for which for how we can name our variable. The rule is that uh, the first character of the variable name should be a letter. The convention says that it should start with a lowercase word and then other additional words are lowercase separated, like my first variable. These are three different words. However, they are separated using an underscore. The variable name should not start with numbers, and the only special character to be included is an underscore. Operators. Operators are anything that performs an operation on operands. We can see different types of basic operators. Addition, which is used to add two numbers; subtraction, which is used to subtract two numbers; multiply, which is used to multiply two numbers; divide, which is used to divide two numbers; modulo, which is used to get the remainder after dividing two integers; power, which is used to raise a number to its nth power; assignment is used to assign values to a variable, which we already saw in the implementation earlier. Relational operators. These check the relation between the two operands and return a true or false, which is mostly used in conditional branching statements. Less than is used to check if an operand is less than the other. Greater than is used to check if an operand is greater than the other. Less than or equal to is used to check if an operand is less than or equal to the other. Greater than or equal to is used to check if an operand is greater than or equal to the other. Comparison is used to check if the two strings are equal. Now we'll again see the implementation. We can see that the plus operator returns us the sum of the two operands. The minus gives us the difference. The multiply operator gives us the product. Now, when we use the divide operator, we are getting the output as 0. We all know that 2 by 3 is 0.666. Then why are we getting the output value as 0? This is because the compiler thinks that what I need in the output is an integer. Since I'm passing both 2 and 3, which is both integers and not float, the compiler thinks the output that I need is an integer. Hence, the output is the integer value of 0.666, which is 0 itself. Now, what to do if I need the output as 0.66 itself, which is a double? Then I shall have to pass at least one uh, number which has a decimal. So I can pass 2.3.0. So the compiler knows that I'm not only using an integer, but I'm also using a float or a double number. Hence, when I run this program, the output I'm gonna get is 0.666, which is the double value. We have seen the power operator 2 power 3, which gives us 2 cube, which is 8. 10 modulo 3. So hence, when we divide 10 with 3, we get 9 point something, and hence the remainder is 1. So we can see that the output is 1. We have seen relational operators 5 less than or equal to 3, which is false because 5 is greater than 3. 3 less than or equal to 3, which is true because 3 is equal to 3. 2 less than or equal to 3, which is true because 2 is less than 3. 2 not equals to 3, which is true because 2 is not equal to 3. And 3 equals to 3, which checks if 3 and 3 are equal. And yeah, it's equal true. Now here I have assigned 10 to the variable num, and I have done num plus equals 100. This just means that I'm going to increment the value of num by 100. This is similar to writing num equals to num plus 100. So when I print the num, I should be getting the value of 110 because I'm incrementing 10 with a value of 100. Yep, we got 110. Now we shall learn some important functions. The .pow function. This is similar to power function. It's used to raise a number to a power of n. .abs function. This function returns the absolute value of the number. Math.sqrt function. This function is present in the math class. Hence, we can use this function by importing the math class. Math.sqrt function returns the square root of a number. Math.log is also a function that is present in the math class. This function returns the log of a number to the base of e. Uh, we can note that it returns the log of a number to the base of e and not to the base of 10. Sometimes it is necessary to. We cannot add a integer and a string, and hence sometimes there arises a need where we need to convert one literal to another literal. Hence, we use the .2i, 2f, and 2s functions. The .2i function is used to convert any literal into an integer literal. The .2f literal is used to convert any literal into a float literal. The .2s is used to convert any literal into a string literal. Implementation. Yes, the .pow function, uh, what it does is it raises 2 to the power of 3. Hence, we get the output of 8. This is very similar to the power function we have used here, the power operator, which also gives 2 power 3, which is 8. We have also used mat.sqrt and mat.log functions. The mat.sqrt function just returns the square root of the number that we pass. Hence, we have square root of 144, which is 12 at the output. The mat.log function, this returns the log of the number that we pass. Hence, the log of 10 to the base of e, which is 2.30. If we need log of 10 to the base of 10, we have to divide this value by 2.303. The .abs function returns the absolute value of the literal. Hence, the absolute value of -5 is +5, and the absolute value of +5 is +5 as well. Hence, it's +5 as well. Now here we can see 3.14 plus 4, it's 7.14. But if I convert these two into string, we can see the output is not 7.14. The output is 3.144. How is 3.14 plus 4 equals to 3.144? This is because when I'm converting this into string and this into string, the plus operator here acts as concatenation function. Hence, it concatenates the two strings. So 3.14 and 4, it concatenates the both and gives us 3.144. We have seen here that I'm adding 100, an integer, and another 50, which I'm passing as a string and then converting into an integer. I need to convert this into an integer if I need to add it to the string, if I need to add it to the integer. Else, I'm going to get an error. Yeah, we can solve. See here, strings can't be coerced into integer. Hence, either both should be a string when the plus can be when the plus acts as concatenation, or both should be an integer or a float. Similarly, here we have used 50.99 and converted into a float value, which when we do it, we get, sorry, 2i. Yeah, we get 150.99. When I convert 50.99 to integer, it's gonna round 50.99 into the nearest integer, into an integer value, which is 50s only. So 100 plus 50 is 150. Now coming to some of the most used data structures. Arrays. Arrays are ordered continuous collection of data. Each element of an array is associated with a unique linear integer number called as index, which can be used to access the array elements. Here are some most used array functions. This is the standard syntax to access array element. Array name, square braces, and index. We can remove the last element of an array using the pop function. Delete the element at a particular index using the deleted function. Append an element to the array using the push function. Insert an element to a particular index using the insert function. Both push and insert is used to add elements to the array. The difference is we get to choose where to add the element in the insert function, while the push function adds it at the end of the array. We can sort the array using .sort function and use the .include function to check if an element exists in the array. We can see here that I have declared an array ARR and I have initialized it with values 4, 8, 16, 23, 42, and iris. Hence, all the values of an array don't need to be of the same literal. I have an integer literal here and a string literal here, and it's okay. These are the indexes. 4 is at index 0, 8 is at index 1, and so on. We need to note that the index starts with 0 and not 1. Array of 0. This is how we can access array elements. Array name, which is ARR, square braces, and the index of which element of the element that we need to access. Hence, if I need to access 4, I'm going to pass 0 here. So array of 0 is 4, comes from the output screen. Array of minus 1. If I use negative numbers, it means the I'm coming from backwards. So minus 1 means the last element, minus 2 means last but one element, and so on. So array of minus 1 and iris is rendered here. Started in now I can also use array of 2 comma 3. So this means that I will start at index 2 and I'll get 3 elements to be printed. Hence, at index 2 I have 16 and 3 elements 16, 23 and 42 will be printed. 16, 23 and 42. I can also use this array 2 dot dot 5, which means start at index 2 and go on till index 5. Hence 16, 20, 16, 23, 42 and iris will be printed. We can use array.length function to get the length of the array. We know that the length of this array is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hence 6 is printed on the output. We can use array.pop to remove the last element. Hence iris is removed. Array.deleted, and we can use the array.deleted function and pass the index of which element that we need to delete here. Hence array.deleted 2. Hence it removes the value 16 from the array. Array.push 44. Hence it appends a value of 44 at the end. Array.sort. This is used to sort the array. And array.include 4. This checks if the value 4 exists in the array or not. Since the value 4 exists in the array, we get the output as true. Strings. Strings are a special kind of array of characters. Now we shall see some important string functions. We have already seen the working. We have already seen the working of the gets function. So what the gets function does is it adds a blank line at the end of the input, which can cause abnormalities. Hence, we use the dot sum function. We can remove the extra white spaces present in our string using the dot strip function. Dot length function is used to get the length of the string as an integer. We can use the dot include function to check the presence of an element or a substring in a string. We can use certain placeholders in the output string to replace them with their corresponding values in the output string. We can use this syntax to use the string interpolation. Now we shall see the implementation. Here I have declared a string greeting with the value hello. Hence, similar to arrays, we can represent h with the index 0, e with index 1, and so on. The dot length function returns us the length of the string, which is 5. Dot include function checks if the LLO substring exists in the string or not. Since LLO exists in the string, we are getting the output true. Similar to how we printed 1 comma 3, which means start at index 1 and give me 3 elements. Hence, we have ELL starts with index 1 E and give me 3 elements 1, 2, 3 ELL. Similar to array, we can access this using the same syntax string name, square braces, and the index. Hence, I'm gonna get H. We can use greetings.chop function. The chop function just removes the last element from the array. So, O will be removed from the string and hell will be printed. The strip function is used to remove the extra white spaces in the string. So, in case my string was this and had so many extra non-necessary spaces, white spaces, the output would still be hello itself. Now we shall learn how to use the gets and gets.chomp. We have used name equals to John. So I'm assigning the word in string literal John to the name. Hence it's printing your name is hashtag name. This is the syntax that we have used for string interpolation. I have used this placeholder and then replace this placeholder with the original value of John. Hence, your name is John. This is the other syntax of using plus. This also gives us a similar result. Your name is John. Now we shall learn how to use the gets and gets.sum function. I have used name equals to gets, which means I'm gonna get some input from the console, and whatever I'm gonna get the input as, I'm going to store it in the variable name. Here we can see that the console is asking me to enter my name. I'm going to enter it as John. Hence, hello John, how are you? I'm getting. But you can see that it's saying you're not John. And also, it's hello John, how are you should have been like it should have been displayed at the same line, right? Why it's going to the next line? This is because at the end of gets function, it automatically creates me a new line. It so I don't need this, right? I don't want a new line. I want it all to be in the same line. So I can use the dot form function. And now I see, hello John, how are you? It's all being printed on the same line and it's saying your name is John. If I didn't use this form function, there was an extra blank line at the end of the John, and hence the input was not treated as just John. It was treated as John and an extra blank line. Hence it was saying me that I am not John, even though I was John. Now we should go. Now that we know arrays and arrays and strings, hashes. Hashes are just a collection of key value pairs. We can access the value of an hash element by using the key associated with the element, which is similar to how we access elements through index in arrays. Unlike arrays, the keys in hash need not be an integer but can be of any object type. We can create a new hash using dot new function. We can print all the values of an hash using dot values function and all the keys of an hash using dot keys function. We can delete a particular element of an hash by passing the key to the dot delete function. We can check if a key exists in a hash using dot include function. We can merge two different hashes using dot merge function. Now we shall see the implementation. So as we saw earlier, the dot new function is used to create a new hash. We can also create a new hash by using open and close curly braces. There are two ways how we can add values to the how we can add entries to the hashes. One is the new syntax, and another is the old syntax. In the old syntax, we use a key and a value and a hash rocket. This symbol is called hash rocket to pair the key with the value. Use a comma to separate it with the next entry. In the new syntax, we don't use this hash rocket symbol. We just give key and the value and a comma, that's all. We don't necessarily need to follow the same syntax. We can also use new syntax for one entry and the old syntax for another entry, and it's all totally okay. So puts heads. This is gonna output my entire hash, which is city Bangalore, country India. Yeah, we can see here. This is my entire hash. The head values prints out all the values in my hash. So all the values in my hash are Bangalore and India. The keys prints out all the keys in my hash, which is city and country. The include function is used to check if a key exists in the hash. Hence, the key city exists in the hash heads. So the output is true. We can use this merge function to merge two hashes. I have a one hash called hash, which has entries name and branch and age. I have another hash h with entries city and country. Now, if I merge hash and h, it's gonna append all the values of h to the hash, to this hash. So my output hash is name country, branch EC, age 19, and then city Bangalore and country India. Similar to how we print elements in the array, we can access hash elements by using hash and the key name. Hence, hash with the key of name is Kirti. Hence, Kirti will be printed in the output screen. Hash with the name of branch, with the key of branch, which is EC. EC will be printed on the output screen. We can use the dot delete function to delete an to delete a key. I'm passing the key name. Hence, in this hash, the element Kirti will be deleted. Yeah, we can see that the Kirti is deleted here from the hash. You might all be familiar to if-else statements. If a condition is true, then the if block is executed. If the condition is false, the statement in the else block is executed. This is the syntax right here for the if-else statement. We have also this something called unless statements, which executes the condition when it is false. The if we need to note that like if executes the statements if the condition is true, while unless executes the statement if the condition is false. Coming back to implementation, I have declared two variables, isStudent and isMart, and I have initialized both with the value of true. IsStudent and isMart. The AND function, this is called logical AND function. This returns true only if both the left operand and the right operand is true. Hence, if both isStudent is true and isMart is true, I'm gonna get you are a smart student on the output screen. Else if this is called a not operator. This is just going to change whatever the value is here. Like if eSmart is true, then I'm gonna get this as false. If eSmart is false, I'm get this value as true. Hence, else if function. This will be executed only if this condition is false. So if this condition is false, then it's check if it is student, yeah. So you're a student. And if not smart, you are not a smart student. You are a student and not smart. Else you are not a student. We have checked here that each student and each smart means you are a smart student. Each student and you are not smart means you are not a smart student. Else you are not a student. We can see the implementation of unless. Here, the unless statement did not execute because the each student is true. Hence, it's not getting executed. But if the each student is false, it executes the you are not a student. Now coming to loops. Loops are used to execute a block of code for a specific number of times. The for in loop. This is the syntax of for in loop. We give a variable and an expression involving that variable, and the associated block will be executed for all values of that variable for which the expression comes true. The dot each loop uses an iterating object and executes the loop every time the expression comes true. It is very similar to for in loop but uses a different syntax. We can also pass an array or a hash instead of the expression for these two loops. The while loop. This is a very simple looking structure. This executes the block of code until the condition is false. We can see the syntax for each of the loops. The for in loop, the 0 dot dot 5. So this returns 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And hence, this statement will be executed for each value of index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which means the variable index will first get the value of 0 and this line will be executed. Next, the index value will be assigned 1 and this statement will again be executed. Hence, we'll get the output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, yes, we have an array mynums here. Mynums dot each, which means for each value of element in the mynum array, I need to do num. This num is the iterator object. So similar to for in loop, this loop will run for every values of num which is in this array, which means first the num will be assigned the value of 4 and the loop runs once. Then the num will be assigned the value of 8 and again the loop runs. Hence, we get the output as 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42. 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42. We can also use 5 dot times do IDX. This 5 dot times is similar to mynums dot each, where mynums is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which means the first 4 whole numbers. So hence, the 5 dot times returns me an array of 0 to first 4 whole numbers. Hence, the output is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Initially, I have assigned the value of index as 1 and the while loop, which is all the statements in the while loop gets executed until the statement here is true. Hence, if index is 1, then 1 is less than or equals to 5. Yes, it's true. Hence, this is executed. Here, I'm going to print the value of index and then increment the value of index by 1. Hence, first index 1 is less than or equals to 5, true, print 1, increment the value of index to 2. Now again, 2 is less than or equals to 5, print 2, increment the value of 2 to 3, 3 less than or equals to 5, puts 3, and so on. So hence, I'm going to get the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and that's it for today. Congratulations for successfully learning the basics of Ruby. We will soon upload the article and assignments for Ruby. Make sure to go through them. Feel free to contact me in case of any doubts. See you soon in the Iris Web team. Bye bye.